Welcome. I'm Susanna, and this is the next in my video series, and I'm glad you're here. So where we've been is we've looked at how I got interested in this model of the hero's journey and how that had been an interest of mine since childhood. And then in my corporate life, I was able to find this as a similarity with what Campbell was thinking when he looked at it as a unifier, where I was in mediation trying to find things to unify my groups of people I was working with and find common ground. And then as I was delving more into what this was and what's the path of the hero's journey, I began to see that, wow, I could really use this with the women I was coaching and with the women's groups that I was coaching. And I began to teach it. So today is going to be about, well, how did I make it relevant to women? How did I take Joseph Campbell's scholarly, detailed model and adapt it to the busy women that I was coaching? So thinking that they have so much going on, so much to learn in life in general, what they were doing, so many plates to spin, and how could I teach this in such a way that they could grasp its significance and its importance to them quickly and learn it quickly. And then really, ideally, my goal was for them to be able to see their own lives through the lens of the heroine's journey, that they would see themselves as heroines on this epic journey that had been around, talked about, told in stories for thousands of years in all cultures. The significance of such an ever-present archetype is very powerful. So if I could connect them with this powerful path and help them see that they were on it, I thought, wow. And that's what it has done for me. So that was my task. And could I do it? And so what I had to do was look and see, well, okay, there's the hero's journey. And how does the hero progress, or what's heroic to a man? And let me say right off the bat that I'm going to make generalizations here, that I know truly that you can't just say for men it's this way and for women it's this way. There's always major crossover. But again, in general, I would say that men, when they think about what's heroic, actually, when you hear the word hero or heroic, you think of usually what men have done. So climb mountains and land planes when they're crashing, land them in the ocean, or solve some big problem, or just something that's really out of the ordinary, some huge feat. And then when you think of women and you ask them what's heroic, it can be very different. So women would even have the tendency to tell me initially, before I explain to them more about different ways to take the journey, they would say, I'm not a heroine, I'm not heroic, I've never done any big major, I never lifted a car off anybody or saved somebody from a burning building. For women, it could be, think about the courage that it takes to leave a unhappy or dysfunctional situation, either in work or in your personal life. For women, it could be bringing up a child on your own, or in any case, moving, taking up residence in a whole nother state where you don't know anybody, changing jobs because you're really dissatisfied, can be those things because you're leaving your comfort zone and you're into the unknown. You're into a situation where you will be challenged. And back to what Joseph Campbell said, everyone can be heroic. You'll go through challenges. You'll suffer as a result. That's what refines you, takes your character and builds you into something that you're now more of than you were when you started. That's that ordinary person becoming extraordinary. So I had to look at, there's a difference in the hero's journey, even though the steps are the same, the milestones are the same. It's in how women take it and how they define it and what they see as heroic that makes it different. And so I explained to women that this was their path, that this was a path that many women had walked before, so that you're never alone. You're always walking a road that has been trodden by many brave and courageous women before you, which is part of the unifier, which I love. So it's the heroine with 1,000 faces, right? And so I went back to Dorothy and I said, let's look at Dorothy and how, let's take us through her experience and see how it matches up. So Dorothy starts out as very ordinary. She's in Kansas. Not that Kansas is ordinary, but she's on her dusty farm. Auntie Em is counting chickens. She's bored. She's walking on, in the movie, she's walking on the fence, falls into the hog pen, and she doesn't get an internal call to do something different. She gets an external, pretty much pulls the rug out from under her feet. The tornado comes. And so it takes her over the threshold from her old life in Kansas with Auntie Em and puts her into a totally new world, into the unknown, and on an adventure. And there she is. And good things happen to her and bad things happen to her, which same with us. So the good things, she meets wonderful friends who help her. She's traveling with them. She gets a mentor. Glinda the Good Witch appears and helps her, gives her the slippers, which she does not understand the significance of at the beginning. And she sets out on her journey and she meets the witch. So the witch to her is the scariest thing. And there's so much built up around what's so frightening about the witch. And they travel through, and they, as all of them travel through, they change and grow. The lion who thought he needed courage is courageous at the end. The scarecrow thinks of great plans, even though he doesn't think he has a brain. And the Tin Man is crying. He's got a heart. So it's like we all have these things and we're able to bring them forward. And it's the journey that brings forward our true selves. It's the journey to our true selves. And so then we get to Dorothy, who vanquishes the witch, and everybody the whole time is so afraid of the witch. And to me, this is how in every time we step into the unknown, there's so much fear. We call it the threshold guardians that are always saying, watch out, be careful, you're not smart enough, you're not courageous enough, you don't have a heart, you're not all the things. Yeah, we do, but we have these cultural voices in our heads and in people around us that want us to stay back, to stay in our comfort zones. But the heroine passes through all that, listens to it, says, get behind me, and keeps going. So all this fear about the witch, we get to the situation where there's the scarecrow caught on fire in the witch's castle. Dorothy goes to put the fire out, throws the water on the witch, and she melts. So what's the message there? So much of what we're afraid about is nothing. It can melt. It's the anticipation of what could happen. So she's gone, and they deliver their prize, the witch's broomstick, to the wizard, who was the all-knowing Oz, who really didn't know anything. He was just pretending. So again, to me, which I'm always talking about in my course, is your wisdom is within you, and you know more than anybody else knows, and to trust that inner wisdom where you should go next on the path on your journey. But then he takes off in the balloon, and she misses out, and she and Toto are left. And then, of course, the mentor, who's really always there whenever she needs her, Glinda, shows up, and she explains, oh, the shoes, they were on your feet all along. You could have gotten home, could have gone back to Kansas. And to me, the shoes are also what we have within us, that guiding system, our intuition within us. But if we just ask, then we'll be able to find our way, whatever home is to us or wherever we're looking to go while we're on the journey, to trust that inner voice. And she goes. And then, of course, they say to Glinda, why didn't you tell her? If you knew, why didn't you tell her? I think the Scarecrow says it. And Glinda says she had to find it out for herself. So that's the thing. All of this, you have to find it out for yourself and trust your own inner voice. But there is a path, and Glinda did show it to her. And I'm showing you, and I definitely like to think of myself as your guide on your heroine's journey, that there is a path, there are way markers that you can learn about and that will help you as you go. And again, I could have talked about this as it's the journey of self-development, and you have to leave your comfort zone, you have to take risks, but it's so much more interesting, I think, to see this as an ancient story theme, an archetype that has power because it's been around for so long and lived in our collective unconscious. So it still keeps coming up and helping storytellers tell stories. So wouldn't it be good to know about it? If somebody thought, well, this is a vital message, you have to leave your comfort zone in order to grow, it's good to know it and to pay attention to it. We're going to have another video where I get to show you the map that I created of this journey. And it's different. I wanted it sort of like a game. It might look like a game to some people. I even kind of thought about the Candyland map, which I played as a little girl. I'm sure a lot of you did. And it just helps to see it visually, all the different ways that the curves, the places where you can maybe get sidelined and distracted, but the path marches right to your success, to your happiness, if you just keep walking one foot in front of the other and believe in yourself and listen to that inner voice and click your heels when you need to, and you'll get there. So I thank you for joining me again, and I look forward to talking with you about the map in the next video.